Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. Alright, anyone who didn't think that this was gonna happen, raise your hands. Okay, good, no one's raising their hands. Awesome, because everyone knew that Todoroki was Dobby. Or at least you should have. Um, if you didn't, then I'm honestly really surprised. Oh boy. This chapter of My Hero Academia, chapter 290, just released. And I can explain the entire chapter in like just a few words. Shigaraki is defeated by Todoroki and Nejire. The Gigantamacha shows up, and then Dobby goes on a rant to just tell everyone, haha, I just told the entire world that I'm Todoroki, or not Todoroki, Endeavor's son, haha, you're screwed. And all of that stuff is just... yeah, that could have been explained in like 5 words, like, or something short. But basically, he did just tell the entire world, hey, I'm Endeavor's son, and he's a dick. Now, obviously, you're probably looking down at the line and just being like, huh, where's he going with this? Because he just explained the entire chapter in just a few words. Well, first off, I just want to just briefly go over the fact that everyone knew that he was Endeavor's son from the very beginning. The simple fact of the matter is that this story is kind of a weird situation. When Todoroki's arc kind of began, we learned about his backstory, about how his father had been a jerk to his mother and to all of his siblings. And that was going to cause a whole bunch of issues, just plain and simple. Everyone knew that there were going to be issues, and here we are. No one is surprised. But at the same time, there was still a little bit of confusion. Why go over this stuff? And then literally the next arc at the beginning, at the very end of the arc, we meet Dobby, a guy who, well, to be put simply, doesn't like Endeavor at all. Hides his true name, saying, currently I go by Dobby. And then, like I said, he hates Endeavor, has blue flames. Seriously, did anyone not think that it was Toya? Or, well, they didn't know that it was Toya at the time, but did anyone honestly think that Todoroki was not his last name? It's just a fact, people. Come on. Who is actually that stupid that they didn't think, oh, it's Todoroki's brother? But then it continued. Multiple times there would be little glimpses here and there where it was just like, oh, he's Todoroki's brother. It's just adding more fuel to the fire. And so on and so forth. Such as, oh, Toya died, and all this stuff. Clearly he didn't. You're not making this easier. Come on, people. Move it along. And I don't know. It was weird. It was stupid. It didn't make much sense. But it was honestly just building up to this moment. The mic drop. Please don't actually drop a mic, people. That's like one of the worst things that you can do to your sound person. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Like I said, all of this stuff was self-explanatory, and we didn't really need this chapter as much as some people probably thought. We knew that it had to happen at some point, but I don't think it needed to be a full chapter because everyone knew. Literally everyone knew. Enough to where people were like, huh, let's make jokes about it, where we say that Dobby is Deku's brother and all this stuff. Come on, everybody knew it. Everybody knew from the very beginning that Todoroki and Dobby were brothers. Um, So let's actually talk about the future. What does the future hold for this whole situation? Now, obviously, the next chapter is going to be the runaway. Basically, all of the heroes are going to, well, not all the heroes, all of the villains are going to get onto Gigantamacha and run away. And we're probably not going to see them for a few arcs, is what I would say. Probably a lot more smaller villains that are just kind of taking advantage of the whole situation, and stuff like that is going to be what we're going to be dealing with more. And yeah, but here comes the actual issue. What is Endeavor going to do? As you guys may recall, at the beginning of when this arc started, or when I started talking about this arc, one of the first things I said was Endeavor is going to lose his quirk. Did I think that other people were going to lose their quirks? Abso-frickin-lutely. But Endeavor was one of those where I thought for sure he has to lose something. Something has to happen to him. And yeah, I would say that something did happen. Does it mean that he's going to lose his quirk? No, not by a long shot. But I think that what it actually means is that he's going to be losing his place as the number one hero. Be it as a choice, or just that he's forced out of that situation because the people don't want someone who literally tortures their kids to be seen as the number one hero. That's a terrible thing to do. But even if he has improved a lot since then, it's not going to be much to people. They're going to want to destroy him. And it's not going to be a pretty picture. So I think that something has to happen. I think the first thing that's going to happen is that while they're in the hospital, Endeavor is going to be watching the video. Shoto is going to come in to his room and be like, so what do we do? And Endeavor is probably almost recovered at this point, looks up and says, I do have a plan. You and your classmates should focus on school. Get ready to become the new number ones. I need to make a statement about this, or else things are just not going to get better. And then he is going to make a huge statement. A statement that may shock the world. We all know that All Might has retired at this point, and that more than likely a lot of the heroes who were the top heroes are also going to be retiring. Specifically, Best Jeanist. We knew that he was retiring for the longest time. But I think this is the point where he's going to retire. Endeavor is going to retire. He's going to make his speech, stand up in front of everyone, saying something along the lines of, attention everyone, I have to make a speech. And people are going to be like, Endeavor, is what Dobby said in that video true? To which Endeavor puts up his hand and simply says, I've seen the video, and everything he said is true. I'm ashamed of it. I'll be honest. I'm ashamed of what I was, who I was, all the harm that I caused to my family and to others. I'm ashamed. And then he's going to say something along the lines of, a few years ago, I thought that Toya had died. Died in an accident. We didn't know. We didn't know what had happened to him. His body was gone. And we thought for sure he had died. My other son was still alive, and we could find him, but Toya was gone. We had a funeral for him. And that pushed me into my work even more. I got mad. I didn't know what to do. I began pushing Shoto even more than I ever thought I would have to. I didn't want to, but I was upset and distraught, which forced my wife to turn against me, eventually burning Shoto's face and being put into a mental hospital for a little while. Toya was just the beginning. As I was angry, I struck out, going crazy into my work, fighting villains, taking them down, often killing many of them before they got a chance to see trial or anything. And then something happened. A few years ago, a young boy was trying to save a villain. I didn't understand it, but I had heard from the others that he was the vigilante of Naruha, or whatever. I don't remember what the actual name is, but that's the point. And of course he's talking about Koichi. I went up to this, I saw this boy being a vigilante trying to stop a villain who had been destroying the town, but instead of trying to hurt her, he was trying to save her, and I wanted to destroy them both. And I nearly did kill them both. But that girl, Popstep, wasn't a villain. She was a victim of another villain who had been forcing her to do his bidding. This villain would later strike back and attempt to kill her again. Luckily, there were people at the hospital, including this boy, who were able to stop him. This boy was the vigilante known as the Crawler. As many of you may know, he is now gone. No one knows where he went, but it was because of him that I realized I can't just make these decisions and kill every single villain that I see. Sometimes a villain is merely a victim, forced to do something that they don't want to do. Or a vigilante who's just trying to be a hero because our society doesn't see them as such. Even though our society doesn't see them as such. This boy, as far as I'm aware, I've heard from others that he is now in America, working side by side with their number one hero. Or something like that. I don't, that's not currently known, so don't take my word for that. Anyways, guys, back to Endeavor speech. But that boy was not the last thing that sparked me. There was another boy, a few years later. In fact, this year, well, where a young boy was preparing for the sports festival with Shoto. And this boy, well, he of course wanted to win this competition, and probably could have. Instead of going all out and taking down Shoto, he held back, blasting off one attack after another, trying to show Shoto that his quirk was not my quirk or his mother's. It was his own. And that was the spark that made me realize that I couldn't do what I've been doing. Shoto needed to be his own person. And over time, I've grown to understand that more and more. Seeing these children grow. I would later take on that boy as a student to learn with him and to teach him how to be a hero by bringing him into my agency. He's taught me more than I ever could have taught him. And he's taught Shoto even more as well. This boy, he deserves to be the next number one hero. Because he has truly saved more people than he could possibly know. As does Koichi, the crawler. He deserves to be up on this stage being a hero. As all of this information comes to light, it is with a heavy heart that I must also announce that I cannot continue to be the number one hero. Not in good conscience. I have done terrible things, and as such, I must step down from being the number one hero. And with that, I must say goodbye. After all of this, Endeavor would step away, and many people would start to wonder who's going to be the new number one. With Endeavor leaving, he's no longer being a hero for being a hero. Instead, he's keeping his hero license in order to track down his son, to save him from himself, to become a hero in his family's eyes, to reunite them and bring them back together, to make himself and his family whole, to make them an actual family once again. It's a sad story, but it's also one that has to happen. Once Endeavor has completed this, I don't know who's going to become the new number one. We all know that many of the heroes are hurt or retiring or killed during this huge incident, specifically the top 10. And we don't know anymore who's going to be taking up these roles. Yes, Kamui is up on the top 10, as are Ryukyu and Wash and what's his name. But a good majority of them are gone. Crust is dead. Mirko has lost a leg, and I think that there's a hole in the other one. Endeavor, like I said, is injured and retiring because he needs to go find his son. He needs to save him. Hawks is injured, destroyed. His wings are gone. Could he possibly heal them? Maybe, but it's going to take him a long time to recover from this incident. He needs time to become back to his full self. As such, he can't really be a hero right now. Instead, he needs to take some time off. And finally, the fifth hero, Best Jeanist, the number 3 hero. Could he possibly take up the role and become the new number 1? No, he can't. For many reasons, but one of the biggest is the fact that he is actually injured. We all know that in Camino he lost a lung, and he's been thinking of retiring for a long time. In fact, he was planning on retiring back when Hawks killed him. But at the same time, he can't anymore. The world needs him to continue to be a hero and to save the world. Unfortunately, he can't do that right now. Honestly, the only things that he had planned to continue to do now was, and the only reason why he was sticking around was because of the fact that he needed to know Bakugo's new hero name. And soon Bakugo's going to tell him, I'm Ground Zero now, or something along those lines. He's Ground Zero, and he's going to become the new number one and be a hero, just like his mentor, just like Deku. And one day he's going to be a greater hero than Deku. But I can't imagine that Genist is going to be around for much longer. Honestly, I think he's just going to show up briefly to be the hero who sends them packing. He shows up, uses his quirk to, at the time, we think, contain Gigantamacha and the rest of the villains, but instead, they're going to run away and manage to get away, and honestly, I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. It's possible that they will all be arrested, and it's going to be because of Best Jeanist, but whatever the case is, I can't imagine that this is the end. And I also can't imagine that Jeanist would become the number one hero anymore. I honestly think that soon he's going to retire and leave for good. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen in the future? Of course, if you are going to leave your theories, make sure to say theory review somewhere in your comment. And of course, let me know what you thought of this chapter down in the comments below. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. And also leave a like. And the reason that I say subscribe is because apparently only 18% of you guys are subscribed. So please subscribe. And like I said, ring that notification bell. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description. Check out all of our links down there, including our social medias and ways that you can support us financially, including our Patreon, which a big thank you to our current patron, Sheeny. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja, and I will see you guys next time. But on!